Hey, welcome back. Build Your Legacy Insurance Edition podcast. What's up, man?
Good to see you again.
We're just jumping right back in the seat.
Go while the juices are flowing, right?
That's right. Let's keep rocking. Yeah. So take into the second part of the onboarding and how are we helping. And so if you didn't see last week's episode, we did that one on how did we help scratch agencies. So if you're listening to this and you're a startup agency, absolutely go back and listen to last week. But you still may want to hear what we're doing to help, existing independent agencies that have been in business a year or 100 years. This is kind of for them because the process is a little bit different.
It is.
So we kind of wanted to separate them so everybody could kind of get a feel for what it is.
Yeah, the existing agency is a little different, right? Because everybody joins for different reasons at the existing agency level.
That's right.
And so existing agencies, they already have a mode of operation, right? And so there's some where, they're getting an experience very similar to a startup agency, depending upon where they are. And there's others that get a widely or a varying level of it, right? And a lot of it has to do with their reason for partnering with us. And, kind of what I like to tell everybody, first and foremost, when working with an existing agency, when we're going through the recruitment process, we get to know each other, right? But I don't get to intimately know the staff members. I don't get to intimately know every little nook and cranny of the agency and how they operate.
I believe you're certainly talking to them and you're getting to know them. And like you said, probably more of an owner level of things. The biggest thing that you're probably getting to understand is who they are writing business with.
That's correct.
It's probably the biggest thing we're getting to understand from them is, okay, we see your location. I've met you here or met you wherever. You don't have a location. You have a location. And you know who they're writing business with.
We know who they're writing business with and who they want to write business with.
That's right. Those are probably the big things that we know. And those are massive things for us to know to help people as well.
And I would say another piece of that is the overall profitability of the organization. Their numbers.
I'm kind of lumping it all together, right? We're going to know who they're writing with. We're going to know how much they're writing on a monthly basis, an annual basis. What their profitability is.
Retention levels.
Again, types of business. Is it monoline here? Is it commercial lines? Is it personal lines? So we're getting to know that world. Now we're not getting to know if they do have staff members and what that team is doing, what their producers are doing, if they have producers. So that normally comes later because normally I feel like the conversation is a little more owner to you conversation.
It is. Now there are some cases where, some staff members are brought in, but primarily it is to the owner. And so, I think part of what we're doing in that onboarding process with an existing agency is getting to know everybody in the organization and getting everybody, I don't want to say bought in, right? Because I don't think that sounds right. But I do think that is one of the important pieces is as we are bringing in this partnership to an existing agency, it's new. And we want to make sure those staff members underneath the owner there completely understand what this investment that owner has made is going to do for them on their behalf.
Okay, so let's kind of break it down a little bit so people can follow us better. Is we partner with an agency. Let's go through the onboarding. What are we doing with this existing independent agency? Partner with us, now what?
Yeah, so oftentimes when we partner with an existing agency, sort of the checklisty stuff that we talked about with scratch agents last week is already in place.
That's right. It's easy.
It's easy. Now, there are times we'll partner with an agency that isn't using a comparative rater, and so that we're bringing that technology in. We're training those staff members on that. We're training that owner on that. We're going into that side of it, right? So there's a little bit there. We do find a few agents sometimes that when we're going through the recruitment process, they're on older systems. And so we're able to help them update their systems, potentially choose a new system if they'd like to, and they naturally get the discounts on it, right? So we do some of those little things. But then there is the component of training their staff members on how to work with us, because oftentimes, there is the aggregation piece, which I handle, where I'm helping the owner aggregate their books of business to generate more income.
So I'll say that would happen pretty quick too, that we're going ahead and signing the letters or doing whatever we need to do. do?
That truthfully, Bill, is happening before we partner.
Okay.
Right. Because we're getting those reports. We're making sure they're profitable. We're making sure we can aggregate them. And we're showing that to them in the recruitment process.
Right.
Because listen, it's a dollars and cents conversation of, if you partner with me, this is what we're going to return to you out of it.
Right.
And I want to make sure we can aggregate it.
That's right.
Because if there's loss ratio issues, I'm going to tell you that up front. Doesn't mean we can't in the future, right?
We got to do some different things.
But we've got to do some different things. And that's where the program varies, because if we see a book of business where there's loss ratio issues, we can actually, in that onboarding phase, break that book down and see what's driving some of those problems and potentially help clean that book up to where we can aggregate it and they can start to see those dollars flow immediately. Okay. And some of that's simple.
Yes,
right. Other times it's, we find agents that don't realize they've got employees writing state minimum auto liability limits with a carrier that's not really a fit for, right? And it's driving those loss ratios. And so a little bit of it is best business practices within the agency and learning their system, learning how they operate, learning their sales process, their service process, but also teaching their employees how to engage with us, because those agencies, they're not necessarily looking to work with everybody we work with. Oftentimes there's a few target markets that they're wanting to develop relationships with and they're wanting to get direct appointments with. So we're helping them engage with our team to start developing that,
right, while
also scheduling those speed dating days, right? Hey, you're a new partner with us and you want to work with company XYZ. I'm bringing them in, right?
And it may not be, depending on the agency and how long they've been in business and how many markets they have and how many carriers they represent, the speed dating may be a lot quicker. They may already know who they want or who they need, or we do as well, and they don't need this many. They don't need every single thing. There may be 2 or 3.
Yep.
And so we may be a little more pointed with the speed dating.
100%. We're going to be more pointed in that speed dating, and we're still bringing that carrier in. We're having the opportunity for you to tell your story, let that company tell their story, and again, very similar to the scratch agency, we're leaving that meeting with one of 2 things: either an appointment, hopefully that's the goal with it, or a specific goal that we need to hit through our Access Plus division to earn that appointment.
Or let's just say the third thing that could happen is one or both of you agree it's not a good fit. Like, hey, I thought you did something and you really don't.
Right.
And let's just circle back at a year or 2 or whenever it happens. And that's the beauty of that too. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, and
if you know that's not an option.
That's what I tell many existing agencies is, I've got a good idea of who's going to be a fit in an agency and who's not. I'm not perfect. And like you said, they might want to work with a particular company and they might meet the rep and see how that company operates. And it just might not be a fit with their buying experience.
Yeah.
But what's great is we can pivot because we have so many partners.
That's right.
And it's very likely we've got somebody that is going to meet that need. We're diving into that type of stuff. And we're starting to look at opportunities, especially opportunities. Many existing agencies, they have prospects that they've been working with for years and they just haven't been able to close it. So we're circling back on that stuff. We're looking at those opportunities that now that this relationship's there, how does this open up more avenues for you?
For sure.
Right. And then, dependent upon the agency size, number of employees, a big thing a lot of agents look at is they want to help their employees matriculate in their career. So we're engaging from our growth coach side. We're engaging with our Access Plus as mentors, but we're also looking at things like the BIA program,
absolutely,
right, for commercial production, or the Premier Family Program for personal lines production, our training and learning center to help that CSR, move from customer service to sales if that's something they want to do, right? Helping educate, develop and grow. While also on the backside, one of the things we do, and we don't do it for everybody, but employee handbook reviews, employee compensation models, contracts, different things. We make ourselves available to help with looking at those things.
Yeah, some of them is it does become a different type of consult than the startups, right? The startups, it is get up and get going and they have to figure themselves out. Yeah. We can help them, but it's their agency. They have to figure themselves out. Whereas an existing agency, they've already figured themselves out to a certain level, and it's just a matter of going, okay, is this good? Do I need extra eyes on it?
Right.
That's where we're there to help, with them.
I agree with that, and I think one of the things that I tell all the agencies is, we're here as your partner to help you, right? And some of those conversations and some of the onboarding is dependent upon where they're wanting to go as an agency, right?
Yeah,
we've partnered with agencies that are existing, and the primary reason was because they woke up one morning and they realized, 85% of their business was with one particular carrier, and they said, "Hey, I need to diversify, right, for my future equity's sake." And so it's a very targeted, piece on the carrier side, and educating them on those companies and helping them get those appointments. We've had other agencies that have partnered with us because they're looking to sell their agency within a time frame, and they're looking to maximize their revenue during this period. So we're working aggregation up front, and then we're looking at consolidations, as an opportunity to generate more income for them. For other agencies, it's, I want to jump into commercial. And so it's, let's get into the training on the commercial side. Let's start looking at the things like the BIA and get you introduced to these carriers and get you on their marketing list and get you engaged with these local representatives. For other agencies, it is, strictly, hey, I want to sell my business, and I need help figuring out how to get it all put together in a bow,
right?
To where it looks good when I take it to market.
Well, I'll circle back to it. I mean, the onboarding for an existing agency is normally a little bit quicker because they already have things in place.
Right.
So the onboarding is very minimal.
Right.
There's those couple of things we do, and then I would say it kind of gets beyond onboarding. And now we're really just starting to dive in and consulting. Where do you need help or not need help? But
Exactly.
The onboarding process for an existing agency is pretty simple.
It's pretty simple, and it gives us the time to really learn your whole organization. Whereas during the recruitment process, like you said, we're sort of touching in one or two silos.
Yep.
Right. We're not getting to know everything.
Right.
And then in turn, by doing this, it gives our team what they need to help you better when it comes to that consulting side.
Yeah. And I'd say, I'd echo the same thing I said in the last podcast is this is not something that takes all the time up. We're not sitting there going, we're onboarding these agencies and you particularly that's listening, and we need 40 hours for this week. That's not the case. The case is we're going to look at it and go, when you have time, we want to schedule time. We're ready. We're here. But you still have to run an agency. We still want you to do that because that's the most important thing you have to do. We're just supplemental. So we'll squeeze it in where we need to squeeze it in.
And I think both onboarding, but everything we do.
Oh, yeah.
We value your time. And when we engage with you, we don't want to take up too much of it. We want it to be impactful in as, it's going to sound wrong, but like in as short of a period of time as possible. Because I want to bring value to your business. I don't want to take up too much time so that you can go put that in action, right? And that's what we're trying to do.
Yep. Cool.
So, anything you want to add? Or
no, that's it, man. I just want to make sure people know that, hey, we're not a time waste for them. We're not taking their time. We're just here to supplement them and help them out.
100%. 100%.
Awesome.
So, all right, guys. Well,
cool.
Thanks for joining us, Bill. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
See you guys next time.
See you next week. Thanks for tuning in. You can catch our Build Your Legacy Insurance Edition podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, or send us over a topic recommendation at podcast@siaofnc.com. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, visit us online at www.siaofnc.com. We hope you enjoyed our newest episode. See you next week.